Greetings viewers, this is Monto Maverick coming at you with another review video. Today we'll be continuing the review for the high-end master model RZ029 Storm Sworder. In this review, I'm going to discuss and review all of the individual parts before the final video where I'll be assembling this all together and giving off my final review with the pros, the cons, and everything else in between. Now with that being said, let's get to the parts. First, let's go with the body and the tail. In this one, I was actually kind of surprised of the fact that aside from this being like a simple build, this is actually kind of bigger than I expected this to be. Now, I kind of expected that due to the size of the box, but I was still pretty astonished from the size of this. But with the body, the tail actually just moves a little bit. That's as far as it can go, and that's as far as it can go down. And unfortunately, it barely goes side to side, like so. Other than that, but I really do like the fact that the Zoid cord that comes with these kits, for this one particularly, is actually quite hidden. It's actually underneath here, and only if I can get my fingernail, I made sure my nails were a little bit long just for this. And here we go, the Zoid core. Yeah, every Zoid's kit has a Zoid core, but this one's actually quite well established. There's actually a connection point here, whereas most of the time they would just make it so a vent or a piece like this can actually be movable, so you can easily see, but this one actually connects quite nicely. I will add that there's only one downside I kind of don't like, is actually this vent here in front and the thruster in back here. When I was attaching these pieces, I find them very, I wouldn't say loose, because I can tell these don't usually come off. But I find them like just slightly touching them, and they move quite easily. I don't know if that's the point of it, but I don't even need to try to do that, see? So I am thankful that these are held on pretty good. But at the same time though, I kind of wish there was like a click whenever I connect these pieces. Unless of course maybe it was entirely designed to move the vent and move this thruster. See, easily comes off. But I do want to continue by stating that this kit has a lot of panel lining, and I'll show more in the other pieces, because this one only has just very little. There's only some panel lining on the tail, and on these two sides where the wings are going to be connected, and a little bit on the neck right here. Other than that, very standard. But I do like the way how the silver of this kit kind of matches well with the dark gray or even gunmetal color with the inner frame and other parts of the body. So definitely good contrast with that one. And that's enough for the body. Next up, it would be the backpack, so to speak, or the main thrusters of the kit. I only decided to do that. Normally I would have these two together because there's not much to say, but I just want to take the time to actually point out the detailing that really is on this backpack piece, or the thruster piece really. Just like as I mentioned for the body, a lot of panel lining areas right here. I may do more here. I didn't actually see that too well when I was putting this together, because I kind of think it wasn't needed. Actually, no, maybe I did. Maybe I did do some panel lining. It looks kind of darker than normal. But anyway, and there's a connection piece for the back of the body. But a lot of panel lining here on the bottom of it. And even though it's not going to be seen, I just prefer to be a perfectionist and just hit that up. But yeah, and the backpack, they just actually come out, these two, like so. And that's just a little gimmick that they have. So kind of nice bit right there. And that's it for the backpack. Next up are the legs. The legs, from a aesthetic point of view, I would say, because the Storm Sworder is a pterodon type Zoid. Now, I actually did a little bit of research on my dinosaurs, because I did not know the difference between a pterodon and a pterodactyl. So the more you know, the pterodactyl has teeth, the pterodon does not. So that's the only main difference between a pterodon and pterodactyl. And you think you were just coming in for a normal model kit review. No, you tend to learn a few things too. But the only reason why I add that is because I was never a fan of the feet. I was hoping that this would be more like a claw or even a talon style foot for the Zoid. And I kind of knew about this when I first saw the Storm Sworders back in the Zor's New Century anime along with Zor's Catalog Century. The feet are exactly like this, but I was kind of hoping that would be more like a, again, talon style. But that aside, this is actually pretty standard for it. I would definitely say is pretty, I would say, proportionate for the body. Smaller than the body, but I think it fits best. And compared to other Zords kits, or maybe even Gunpla kits, the leg was not actually the one that took the longest. So I was kind of happy with that. One thing I do want to add though is these gold pieces that is supposed to have a piston aesthetic to it. Doesn't really move, and I do want to add that all these Zoid kits, in case you're interested in getting them, they don't really have a piston. So if I were to move this, these will not go up and down, compared to Gunpla kits where you tend to see these pistons, and I will show that in future Gunpla videos. But this one actually, I did do some painting on this gold piece here because the color that came with the kit was a very gold yellowish color, but it's more yellow, even though it said on the instructions that it was like a gold yellow, and I just did not like it, so I just decided to paint that over, and I'm very happy with that. But for the legs, I just want to do some simple articulation. So that goes up and down, and that's going to be used for a aerial pose, which I'm going to do in the next video. This goes all around, not really saying you need it. There's a very good knee bend, kind of goes a little bit forward and a little bit back. So I would say it's with all that all around, I would say it's 90 degrees from here. Actually, no, I would say maybe it's like 80 degrees. It's not 100%. It's not really a 90. It's more like 80, but still a nice bend nonetheless. The foot actually has a few poses. It does have a slight swivel here on the ankle. And the foot does go forward and it does go back. And of course you gotta be careful of this fin here. So if you move back like so, extend this forward, then you basically will have a area pose, which again I will show in the next video. And there's like a toe movement too, like so. And that's about it for articulation for the foot, and that's about it for the leg. Next up are the wings, and this is by far my favorite part of the kit. The wings have a lot of detailing in and a lot of panel lining as well, especially in these smaller areas. And one thing I use actually for this, I use this. This is the first time I ever used this, panel line accent color. And by far, this is a lot easier than the markers. The only downside is compared to this and the markers is that the markers have more variety. There are more colors for you to pick from. Whereas the panel lining, from when I bought this at a hobby store, they have black, dark gray, light gray, clear. I'm kind of surprised by that one, and brown. And those are the only ones available. Whereas the Gundam markers, it ranged from red, green, blue, gold, silver, black, obviously. So even though this is a lot easier to apply than the markers, very limited varieties. So just so you know, in case you're interested in ever using that. Now back to the wings. The wings were definitely like a fun part to build. Didn't take too long. It was only not too many parts as I was expecting, but just the fact that I was doing a lot of panel lining did make this very enjoyable. And this is based, I definitely would say this could be the same, if not might be bigger than the body. But I would do a side-by-side comparison at the end of this video to show that. Now as for articulation, it's kind of hard to determine that because it's not attached to the body, but definitely there is an articulation point right here at the base of it. And there's another one right here, which is definitely a lot better. And the blade here does come out, the weapon for the Storm Sworder, that's wing blade. There's only one thing I'm arguing about, and this is basically me being nitpicking. I know I said this in all my other videos, but I was hoping this blade would be actually hidden. Let's say in between, if these were two different pieces, the blade would be in between and be hidden. I kind of prefer it that way, but then again, it may not look too well because there'd be a big gap right here where the blade would be, and maybe these pieces won't be pressed together so finely. So I can understand that, and I'm not 100% sure of how this was shown in the show, but if this is the way how it was, then great. I'm glad it's very accurate to the show. But that's just me being me. And the claws right here do move a little bit, but it's kind of hard to really maneuver it properly because there's an entire articulation on the bottom. If I just move it down forward and move the claw out, like so, then it shows that the talons really are placing down, almost like a pose, so to speak. Just a pterodactyl getting ready to go down and swoop on his prey, so to speak. Or pterodon, really. But yeah, I was again very happy with the wings. And one more thing that I almost forgot to mention is that the wings actually come with another part. It actually comes with these, I would say these thrusters here, not thrusters, these guns here. And what you need to do is just take off the talons, like so, and you just place these outward inside there, like so. So definitely a much more, I would say, battle aesthetic, so to speak, more weaponry for the kit and for the Storm Sworder. But that's about it, but I actually prefer the talons over the guns anyway. And that's about it for the wings. And last but not least, we have the head. And the head, I'm kind of surprised, again, I'm going to state this over and over again, is that the size of this kit, the head is actually a lot bigger than I expected it to be. It could be even bigger than some other kits I have that I'll be reviewing shortly. But definitely bigger than the Terrorist Bomber from what I can tell, from what I remember, I'm sorry. I remember the Terrorist Bomber's head was pretty small, so was the Gun Sniper. So this definitely was overshadowed by that. And actually there's some nice detail in this head as well. And obviously, as you can tell from here, there was another main weapon for the Storm Sworder. And this is actually kind of hard to get out. You kind of need to actually dig your fingernail here because I don't have a really good grasp by picking here. So if you just press hard, like so, you can actually take this out. And that's the main weapon for the Storm Sworder. Or not really the main weapon, but another weapon for Storm Sworder. Mostly the wings blade that we use more often. And the one thing I do like about this is one of my favorite parts about the kit, is that when you open the mouth, it's nice little, I'm glad it can do that, but actually the one thing I want to point out is this piece right here. So if you push that down, again, hopefully I can, there's the pilot. Yeah. Normally the cockpit would be on top of the head, but in this case it's actually on the bottom. So I really love the fact that this is definitely different than most Zoid kits. And that's about, and a little bit of motion here for the neck, but I'll show more about that during the full assembly review. And that's it for the head. And here are all them fully displayed, getting ready to be put together. So I want to thank you all for watching. I definitely enjoyed putting this kit, or partially assembled actually at this point. But thank you for all your patience. As I stated in the previous video, I'm just getting a little bit busy right now with the class I'm taking, so that's taking a lot of my time. But thank you again for your patience. I promise you I'm going to try to make my time a bit better as time goes on. And as soon as this class is over, I will definitely have more time to articulate and definitely to post these a lot sooner than later. So again, thank you for your patience. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video where I'll be putting this together and doing a full review. If you haven't done so, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow my other social media platforms. I have a Reddit account and a Instagram account, which I'll be posting in the description of this video. So until next time, keep on building.